Okay, so let's talk about AI agents. You know, these autonomous systems that can actually do things for us? There's a huge revolution happening right now, and this new framework called OpenClaw is right in the middle of it all, promising this incredible new level of automation. Let's dive in.
And when I say it's an explosion, I'm not kidding. In just a few weeks, more than 180,000 developers piled into the OpenClaw framework. That's not just growth, that's a full-blown phenomenon. It just goes to show you how hungry everyone is for this kind of technology.
But this is the big question, isn't it? When tech moves this fast, when everyone's rushing to build, do the guardrails and the security keep up? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is a pretty hard no.
Just look at these numbers. A security audit was done on OpenClaw's skills, which are basically like community-built plugins, and the results are, well, they're staggering. This chart shows that over 41% of them have serious vulnerabilities. More than 30% are rated as high or even critical risk, and get this, almost 1 in 5 showed signs of actual malware. This isn't some theoretical what-if scenario. It's a real, active danger right now.
So this whole situation, this mad dash, is really best described as a gold rush. Everybody is racing to plant their flag in the AI agent world, and the numbers are just off the charts.
I mean, check out this trajectory. The market's set to jump from just under $8 billion in 2025 to over $52 billion by 2030. And Gartner's predicting that by 2026, 40% of all enterprise apps are going to have these agents built in. The scale of this thing is it's huge.
And this chart right here, this really nails the core problem. A whopping 85% of companies are already using agents. But less than 20%, that's fewer than 1 out of 5, actually have the right infrastructure in place to govern and secure them. You see that huge gap? That's the danger zone.
And this quote just drives that point home. It's not a paradox, it's not some interesting little puzzle to solve. The way the source material puts it, this is a countdown. A ticking clock before something really, really bad happens.
All right, so let's pull back the curtain a little and look closer at what these vulnerabilities really mean. Because it's not just about one single framework.
You see, the problems in OpenClaw aren't happening in a vacuum. They're part of a much bigger industry-wide pattern. We're talking critical bugs in other platforms, huge data breaches, hundreds of thousands of ChatGPT credentials being sold on the dark web. It's an entire ecosystem problem.
And here's the kicker. These new agents aren't just bringing some new, fancy AI risk. No, what they're really doing is acting like a Trojan horse. They're bringing back all the old, boring software supply chain problems we thought we knew how to handle, but they're doing it at a level with so much more power. The blast radius is just so much bigger.
So why is that blast radius bigger? Well, it's because of a really fundamental shift in what these AI systems can even do. We've moved past just getting answers. Now they can take actions.
This table lays it out perfectly. When an agent can take over your web browser, suddenly the risk isn't a bad answer, it's an unauthorized purchase. When it's hooked into your email, the risk is your data getting stolen. When it can call out to other tools and APIs, well, now you're worried about your credentials leaking out. See the shift? It's not about information anymore, it's about real-world operations.
This right here, this is probably the single most important idea to get your head around. We all used to worry about a chatbot hallucinating, just making up facts. That's a wrong answer. But a confused or a hacked AI agent with real-world access doesn't give you a wrong answer. It takes a wrong action. And that action could be an unauthorized wire transfer. The stakes are just on a completely different level.
So how in the world do you deal with a risk this big? Well, the research points to a clear strategy. It's not one silver bullet, but a proper, structured, 4-layer defense. It all starts with layer 1, identity. You have to know who or what is doing something. Every single action an agent takes has to be traceable back to a specific verified human, no anonymous agents running around. This means basic stuff like single sign-on, using unique accounts for each workflow, and making sure credentials expire super fast. It all starts here.
Okay, layer 2 is all about policy. And the guiding principle is super simple. Deny by default. That means an agent can do absolutely nothing unless you explicitly tell it that it's allowed to. You're not trying to block all the bad things. You're only allowing the specific good things it needs to do its job. Think of it like a bouncer with a very, very strict guest list.
Now for the third layer, evidence. You have to work under the assumption that something will go wrong eventually. And when it does, you absolutely need a complete, unchangeable record of what happened. We're talking logs of every prompt, every tool it used, every decision it made. If you don't have that audit trail, you have no hope of figuring out what happened.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important layer, human accountability. Technology can't solve this alone. Every single automated workflow needs a real person's name next to it, someone who is responsible. You need a response plan for when an agent goes rogue, and critically, you need a big red button, a kill switch to shut it all down before it causes a total disaster.
So, when you look at the whole picture, putting this governance in place isn't really a tech decision. It's an economic one. It's a choice you make. You either pay for the guardrails now, or you pay for the catastrophe later.
This slide captures it perfectly. Think of it like an iceberg. Above the water are the costs you can see and plan for. API fees, building the right infrastructure. But underneath the surface are the hidden costs, the ones that can sink you. The massive cost of cleaning up a security incident, scrambling to meet compliance rules after the fact, and the legal mess that comes with it all.
And this quote is really the core thesis of this whole thing. These frameworks, they give you amazing capabilities out of the box, but they don't ship with governance. The companies that get this, the ones that build the safety structures before there's a crisis, they're the ones who are going to win. The ones who wait, well, they're just going to be funding the incident response industry.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The most dangerous agent out there isn't the one that gets a fact wrong. It's the one that's confidently executing tasks with your company's live credentials on a workflow that nobody actually owns or is watching. So the real question you need to be asking yourself is, do you know who owns yours?